I don't know enough about what really happened behind the curtain. Not that anyone does, as to who was or wasn't interested in the job. But Peter, of the 5 vacancies, for me, that probably would have been the one that I would have been the least interested in, because it just feels like that team is in the biggest state of flux and uncertainty right now.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. As you saw a bunch of people, just sort of melting away from that job and sort of really steering clear of it. I don't think there's a lot of hope that situation can be turned around quickly. And I just think there's a general air of mystery around Kyler Murray right now. And what are you going to get with him? How are you going to coach him? Who is going to coach him? I just think it's a total mystery what this team is going to be. But I do know this, Mike, in a 13-month span, starting with the second week of December of 2021, a 13-month span, that team went from being the number 1 seed in the NFC at that moment, with a month left in the 2021 season. They went from being the number 1 seed in the NFC to a job basically that, Michael Bidwill, I'm not saying he went hat in hand with, but was easily the least attractive job. When you're a less attractive job than the Houston Texans, you've got to say something to yourself. You got to say, we got to start from ground zero here. And so that's what I think Monty Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon have to do.
And patience is going to be the key, especially because half of this season will likely be played without Kyler Murray. What Gannon said yesterday regarding an offensive coordinator, because Gannon, a defensive guy, this is a critical hire for him. This is the guy that's going to be working with Kyler Murray. Everything we do will be structured around the quarterback, and we have an elite one. And yes, when he's healthy, absolutely, but he's got to get healthy. We've seen plenty of guys never be the same again, lose just a little bit of that explosiveness after tearing the ACL, maybe set himself up for other injuries. And with Kyler Murray, obviously, staying healthy is a challenge because he's not a big guy. So they've got to get the most out of him. They paid him last year. They undermined the relationship with that stupid study clause. And now they move on to a different coach. And the challenge is going to be to get the most out of him. Vance Joseph, the defensive coordinator there for 4 years, was granted his release reportedly from his contract. He is going to interview with the Broncos and the Eagles to be defensive coordinator there. And that makes sense, Peter, because you've got Jonathan Gannon, defensive guy. I feel bad for Vance Joseph that he wasn't available sooner. He was under contract, and they kind of squatted on him. He may have had other options, but at least he's got 2 viable options moving forward.
Yeah, and I think what's really interesting, you talk about Vance Joseph in Denver, the fact that Rex Ryan is interested in the job and Sean Payton has some interest in Rex Ryan. I think that is going to be interesting to watch. But I do think Vance Joseph has got a really good chance to get one of these 2 jobs. Be a little awkward for him to go back to Denver, after being the failed head coach there for 2 years. But, in football, a lot of oddities happen. This would be one of them.
It's the Gunther Cunningham career path. He once went back to Kansas City as the defensive coordinator after being the head coach.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.